Innoson Vehicles Manufacturing, Nigeria's indigenous auto manufacturer, is reportedly planning to launch its custom ride-hailing service, IVM Connect, in Enugu, Nigeria. IVM Connect will join Uber, Bolt, Oma, and RideOn as one of the ride-hailing service providers in Enugu. Bolt began operations in the state in December last year. According to IVM's head of corporate communications, Cornel Osigwe, 200 IVM vehicles from its Newi manufacturing plant in Anambra State are ready to be rolled out when IVM Connect launches in early October. Innoson Vehicles also revealed plans to expand to other states in eastern Nigeria, including Owerri, by adding about 4,800 vehicles to its existing fleet within 1 year of launching IVM Connect. The company has advertised vacancies for interested drivers to apply in preparation for its IVM Connect launch. Joining me to discuss this, as well as Lagos State's implementation of its 5% digital tax, is tech consultant Taiwo Oyewole. Taiwo, good afternoon to you. I wanted to get your take on Innocen's plans, what you think of the initiative, and I guess them not launching in Lagos State. So how do you see things?
Well, I think Enugu sets the stage for a pilot for them. And then they can carry that forward to other states if it's successful there. But one of the things that I think that they're also looking at in terms is the regulatory framework, and they're trying to work with government around that on how to ensure that they don't get into the similar bottleneck that some of the other ride-hailing companies got to with Lagos.
Is the steps that they're taking now, how much effort and work does it take to launch this sort of this service in the state, if you look at what the Ubers and the Bolts and the other companies have gone through?
It's quite a lot. I mean, there's the technology side, so they have to build the apps. They have to build a driver app, which helps the drivers fetch the rides. Then they have to build the passenger app, which allows the passengers to be able to request for the rides as well. So it's a multifaceted setup. Then they have to go into managing the human resources, so the drivers and other supporting staff. There's marketing involved. There's a ton of logistics involved in there. There's a lot of administration that is involved and a lot of hand-holding. There's driver training. There's driver onboarding. There's a lot that is involved in the process. So I think they will get their hands full pretty quickly. But one of the things that I like that they're doing is that they're outsourcing the recruitment side of it. From one of the articles that I read, they're outsourcing that, so that might give them a little breather in terms of them directly doing that. But it's a good model, and they're running, like, I think, the hire purchase scheme where the drivers get to own the cars after 2 years. So let's see how it works. It's capital intensive, I would say that, because most ride-hailing platforms that have done similar stuff globally, or that have even tried to make a success of it, don't actually own the physical infrastructure. What they own is the technology that powers it. So them investing by building these vehicles, 5,000 of them over a few years, over a 12-month period is a lot, so. But we'll see how that works. There's also internet to consider. So the users have to have good internet. The drivers have to have good internet. And they also, in their back office, have to have great internet to power this.
Thank you, Taiwo. In fact, you preempted my next question. So, because the other ride-hailing companies, they don't own the cars, which, to some extent, I'll get your take on this, to some extent reduces liability with regards to repairs and so on and so forth. In this case, if Innoson moves forward with this, they own the vehicles. So, that increases the cost factor for them, does it not?
It does, significantly. I mean, the capital outlay would be astronomical. 200 cars to start off, and then scaling to 5,000 within 12 months. So let's just take an average figure, whatever figure we put, even if the car is 1 million times 5,000, so that's 5 billion, and we know those cars are, well, I don't know how much they are, but it's a huge capital outlay for them over the next 12 months that they intend to do. But the upside is that it helps push their brand, which is a local brand. It helps make it more prominent in the market, albeit just in the eastern region for now. So,
thank you, Taiwo. With respect to them deciding not to kick off in Lagos State, rather, because they're based in the East. What does it say about where we need to see, as far as competition is concerned, for Lagos State with these businesses launching outside? I mean, it's one company. I don't want to get too excited about this, but what does it say about competition for Lagos State for businesses to be opening elsewhere?
I don't think it's new what Innoson is doing. I think there are opportunities outside of Lagos. It's just that maybe a lot of people haven't taken time to be able to craft them or find them those opportunities or find models that will make them work. I know one of the internet service providers, I won't name names, they were in Ibadan for years before, about 2 years before they even ventured into Lagos. And one of the reasons, because I asked a friend of mine who was using them, and I said he had a conversation with them, and that they wanted to test Ibadan because Ibadan is a hilly terrain, has hills and all around. So they wanted to see whether the service would be able to work in places like that. In Oyo State and abroad in general, but Ibadan was the main city that they operated out of. So, and if it worked there, then it means it would work in places like Lagos, around maybe skyscrapers and so on and so forth like that. So there are quite a people that are doing it. There's some Safe Border that came into town. They're not starting in Lagos, they're starting outside of Lagos as well. But it presents a lot of opportunities for other people to look elsewhere. You don't have to necessarily replicate the models that work in Lagos. You can find your own models outside of Lagos. I think it would make a Lagos State setup and make Lagos State be a bit more habitable for companies, especially startups in the environment, because the multiple taxation is just, I think a lot of companies are cringing under it.
Thank you. In fact, you're segueing into the next topic of discussion here. So Jason Njoko, founder of Iroko TV, put up a tweet where he actually shared a letter. Yeah, there's a tweet right there saying, I wonder if Netflix, Filmhouse, and YouTube got one of these letters with respect to the Lagos State's digital levy or digital tax of 5%, where they're asking, I think that letter was dated August 31st, and they're saying from 7 days from then, they're going to ask for all content produced. Since we're talking about Lagos State making things more habitable for businesses, what do you make of this digital tax and where things would go from here?
So, I mean, it's difficult to argue with the government and the imperative to raise revenue, to generate revenue, but it's the way that they go about it sometimes that brings about worry. I feel Jason's pain. I mean, Jason has never been reticent to share his views or his opinions about how his industry, which is the creative industry, should work or how things should move in that sense. But it comes at a time when they just literally laid off about 150 of their staff. In fact, I think shutting down their Africa operations. And then they get in a demand letter. So where are they going to pay from? Who are they going to pay to? They've been declaring losses. And he had a post about that maybe over a week ago, or just about a week ago. So it's a bit confusing because you begin to wonder who this is about, whether it's the government for people or it's people that work for the government. At the end of the day. And it's a lot. And in terms of the way that it was crafted, they made sure to cover like all the bases. So there's stuff about exhibition, there's stuff. I think you should read out the letter, maybe.
we might have to do that. But is this push, I guess this digital tax or levy, how you call it, is that I guess a sign of the I mean, briefly, if you can, you just have a minute. Is that a sign of the times, the pandemic, and the crunch on state revenues? Is that why this is happening?
I don't think so. I think it's more because there's been a lot of focus within the technology space, and that has brought like the creative space to the fore in that sense. So you hear of people raising revenues in tens of millions of dollars, and I think it helps some people's ears just stand up. But the question they need to ask themselves is, are these companies really profitable? Is Netflix profitable in Africa? I think people do their research. And someone like Jason has, I think he said that in different fora as well. These industries are struggling, whether it's the pay TV industry or it's the online streaming industry. Africa is a struggling market for them. I mean, it's a big struggle for them to make any headway here in Africa. So, and Nigeria particularly. So, I don't know.
Hey, thank you for joining us and giving us your insights. Taiwo Oyewole, tech consultant. Appreciate your time. You're watching the Global Business Report here on Arise News.